Wonderful. So, welcome everyone. My name is Ankita. I'm a Thermomix team leader based in Canary Wharf. And today on Zoom, we're going to do a little bit of a cooking class with members of my team. I've got Talya Gordon, Fabrizio Botta, and Ellie Mantle, all who will be doing some recipes. And when we pass over to them, I will introduce, they will introduce where they're from and the recipes they're going to make. But I'm going to start, and what we're going to do today is a red pepper and tomato soup. It's actually one of my favorite favorite soups, and actually one of the first soups that I ever made in a Thermomix. Way back when I first bought my Thermomix in 2009, this was one of the recipes that we demonstrated, and more than 10 years later, it's still one of my favorites. Even better during lockdown periods, because it pretty much uses all store cupboard essentials. I managed to use canned tomatoes, and you'll see what next. So I'm just going to find the recipe on my Thermomix using Cookie Do while it just starts. And the first thing that we are going to do is grind some lentils. So we have 40 grams of lentils that we're going to grind. And in Blue Peter style, I've already put some in my Thermomix just for ease. Okay, so the first step, it says weigh 40 grams of lentils and put it in your Thermomix bowl, and you can see I have it in my bowl. Press next, put my lid on, and then we're going to grind. So the beautiful part about this is that we can grind our own flours in the Thermomix, and this particular recipe, if you don't have lentils, you can use rice as well. So 20 seconds at speed 10, so hear the grinding. Wonderful. As you can see, I have nicely powdered lentil flour, which we have created. And it says put it in a bowl and set it aside. Next step is to add 2 garlic cloves, which I've already peeled. So there you have 2 garlic cloves. Press next. 50 grams of onion. So I've just halved a large onion and I'm putting that in quarters. Press next. 200 of red peppers. So I actually had a really large red pepper, so I've just cut that into eighths. And then it says 50 grams of olive oil. So I'm going to weigh my olive oil. And you have to be just a little bit gentle when weighing liquids, because the scale takes a couple of seconds to adjust. Press next. Insert my lid again. And it's 2 seconds, speed 5. And in just 2 seconds, you can see what I have produced. very nice. You never have to chop again. Scrape down the sides, insert the measuring cup. And now what I'm going to do is saute this for 5 minutes on speed 1 at 100 degrees. It's already programmed in my Thermomix. And now what I'm going to do while that sautés is I'm going to pass you over to Fabrizio. All yours, Fabrizio.
What I'll be doing today is some cheese scones. Everybody loves scones, whether sweet or savory. These ones are savory, and it's a very nice and easy recipe, which only uses ingredients of butter, flour, and cheese that we all have in our kitchen nowadays. So I've already planned the recipe for today. I'm going to find it on my weekly planner. Here it is. Cheesy triangle scones. So I'm going to start. Preheat the oven at 220 degrees, which I've already done, and then I've already lined a baking tray with baking paper. Now you can also use a silicone mat if you prefer. So having done that, we're going to put some self-raising flour, about 450 grams in the Thermomix bowl. And I've already done the mixing with some baking powder and salt. I'm using Himalaya salt, but you can use any salt. You can use sea salt or table salt if you prefer. Okay, everything goes in. Bit of a cloud, as you can see. Okay. Then we're going to add 120 grams of unsalted butter. As you can see, the Thermomix is going to weigh the butter for me, so I will stop when it tells me so. There you go, and 120. Perfect. I'm going to then position the lid and the measuring cup on top and follow the instructions. So I'm going to give 5 to 6 splits. We choose the speed thermo, and then we'll for 1 second, and then again, and again, and again, and one more time. So all we've done here is to make some breadcrumbs, which I'm going to show you. There you go. So easy, nice and easy to make in the Thermomix. Imagine how long it would take you if you were to do that by hand in the bowl yourself. So I've got the breadcrumbs ready, and I'm going to add 120 grams of cheddar cheese. Now, you could add any cheese. You could add Parmesan cheese. You could also add halloumi cheese and mint, for example. You could also go dairy-free. If you don't like cheese, if you're dairy-free intolerant, you could also just use, for example, some ham or some chorizo or some black olives, for example. Yeah, you can always use your creativity to improve Thermomix recipes. So I've got some cheddar cheese in there. I'm going to once again put the lid on top of the Thermomix bowl, and then use the third bowl. Okay. We do that about 3 times just to make sure everything is chopped and not too much. Okay. When that's all done, we're going to add some milk. And again, if you had a dairy intolerance, you could use dairy-free milk. You can use coconut milk, almond milk, and of course, don't forget you can make your own dairy-free milk in the Thermomix. Yeah. So that's 250 grams of milk. Going to close everything down again, and then that'll be the last bit we're going to do. So I've got 5 seconds on speed 4. That's it. And that was 5 seconds done. Now we're going to be doing the kneading, right? So there has already been set 30 seconds, and I'm going to go to the dough making function, which is there, and I'm slightly turn the speed selector to the right. So 30 seconds, it's only taking Thermomix to actually do the kneading for you. Now, we all know how messy kneading can be, both for your hands and for your worktop. You don't need to worry about that with Thermomix in your kitchen. We've got about 10 more seconds to go, and you'll see at the end of it, all the dough is going to be mixed all together with the cheese, as well as the milk together ingredients. And then what we're going to be doing, we're going to take a baking tray. As I said, you can use silicone mat or baking paper. Here's the dough, you can see, beautifully done. And we're going to tip it out on the baking paper. As you can see, turn this way so you can see better. Yeah.
And
now what happens?
I was going to say, these are great for the soup that we're making, but
yeah, absolutely.
You can also make these into pizza scones or for breakfast with that cheese. I'm sure it's delicious.
Absolutely. One more thing I wanted to let you all know. If you've got some dough stuck around the blade, what you can do, give it a couple of seconds on speed 10. That will basically enable the dough to come off the mixing blade, as you can see. And that's going to be much easier for you to scoop it out of the Thermomix and put it back with the rest of the dough. Yeah. So what's happening now, we're going to create a round-like shape, and you can use your hand or you can use your rolling pin. So I've got obviously a rolling pin here. I'll be using both, but I think it's nice to use the rolling pin to just give it a nice height. We're looking for about just over an inch, so just over 2.5 centimeter thickness, and then we're going to shape it into a circle. Okay. Let's go. Okay. It doesn't need to be perfect. We like it nice and rustic. Okay, then we're going to use the spatula. That's the beauty of the spatula. You can use it as a knife. So we use the blade of the spatula to cut into half, and then into quarters. Yeah, and then into eighths. So we're going to create 8 triangular scones. Okay. Now the important bit and the secret here is to make sure that all the scones are actually pieces from each other, because you want them to cook properly, not only on the outside but also on the inside. The wind rise quite a bit, so it's nice and advisable to make sure that they're actually equally distant. Okay, and that's the scones done. I'm going to put them in the oven for you, and I'll see you in about 20 minutes.
Great. I can't wait to see that, Fabrizio. How long will it be on in the oven?
About 18 to 20 minutes.
Okay, perfect. So if we move back to, we look forward to seeing that. What I will do is I'm going to finish the soup. So my onions and pepper mixture has now sauteed fully. And what it is now asking us for is 400 grams of ripe tomatoes or a can of tinned tomatoes. Now, I've got a tin of canned tomatoes, which I'm going to put in. And it then says 400 grams of water. Now, I could weigh the water, but this is actually a 400 ml tin as well. So So we get all the tomato juices. I'm just going to use that to swizzle it all and then add, and there it is. Actually, there's 394 that I put in, so I can just add a little bit more water to it. It then asks for 1 vegetable stock, or if you are a Thermomix owner, we're all used to making our own homemade stock. So this is some stock I made a couple of days ago using vegetables in my fridge. Depending on what color or what vegetables I have, the color varies slightly. But the great thing is there's no additives or preservatives in my stock. I also tend to lessen the salt quantity because salt is there as a preservative, and I actually use my stock much more quickly than as someone who cooks a lot, because I put it in soups, risottos, curries, and things like that. So 1 heaped teaspoon of salt goes in. It says reserved ground lentils, so I've got that as well. And then some fine it says fine sea salt, but I actually like to use Malden sea flakes. So you can use anything that you actually like. And then some ground pepper, about half a teaspoon. Now it also asks for a little bit of cayenne pepper, and even though I do have kids at home, a little bit of spice just brings out the flavor, which is really lovely. Press next. We put our lid back on, and we're now going to cook it for 14 minutes at 2.5. Now the wonderful thing about Thermomix and soup making is that we've done the chopping, the sauteing, and now the cooking. And we're going to come back to the blending after the 14 minutes. But I'm going to pass over to Talya, and she can tell us what she's making.
Oh, hi.
Let me just put you into spotlight. There you go. And unmute.
Okay, hi. Today I'm going to make pesto. Basically, I make probably a jar of pesto every other week. And what I'm going to do today is actually just freewheel. And that is not to use the actual pesto recipe in the Thermomix. So what I'm trying to show you as well is you can use your family favorites. You can make it to your taste. And when you get to know your Thermomix and you've cooked with it a lot, you generally use it for every part of your cooking, and you convert your recipes also that may have been handed down or in your recipe books. So this is what I call freewheeling, and my family love pesto. So I've got a big bunch of pesto, fresh basil, which is about 100 grams. I've got some pine nuts. Again, it's 1 small packet, about 100 grams. I've got 2 garlic cloves, which are quite large, but you know, they quite like the garlicky taste. And I have a block of Parmesan, which is about 250 grams as well. And this is really easy. You'll never ever buy another jar of pesto again, because the color of this and the taste of this is just amazing. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to chop my Parmesan into some chunks. Okay. Now Parmesan any cheese can be grated in your Thermomix anyway, but the Parmesan literally takes probably 5 seconds on speed 10, and I've never ever bought grated cheese or grated Parmesan since I've had the Thermomix. So I'm just going to put that into the Thermomix now. I've got my 2 cloves of garlic, which are going in. I have my pine nuts, and I have the basil. And I'm sticking in stalks, everything, the whole lot, because actually there's quite a lot of flavour in the stalks of your herbs. So that is going in. And it's going to make a terrible noise in a minute. So we have the speed, the temperature, and the, the time, the temperature, and the speed here. And what I do is I sort of get it going, and then I start drizzling in the olive oil, and it becomes like a paste. So you'll have to excuse the noise for 1 second, because it's going to be really loud. I'm actually going to reach you for 1 minute. Okay, you can probably hear me now, sorry. This is just some extra virgin olive oil. I'd probably put about 1.5 cups of olive oil in. We like it quite saucy, and the more olive oil makes it very creamy. And I'm going to put about a teaspoon, of, I've got some pink Himalayan salt. I'm just going to quickly mix that in, and then I'll show you. Okay, so in 33 seconds we have made pesto. And I'm going to show the screen to you now. And there is the pesto. It's really creamy. It's got a bit of texture. You can make it as smooth or as texturized as you want. And I'm basically going to pop it in a kiln jar, and it's in the fridge, and anyone can help themselves to it whenever they need a bowl of pasta. So I'm going to hand back to Ankita now. Thank you.
Oh, great. Great. Well, I still have 9.5 minutes left on my soup sauteing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it to Ellie and see what she's doing. What are you doing, Ellie?
Hi there. Yes, I'm going to be cooking butter for us today, which could be very handy when we're in this lockdown and you might not be able to get all the ingredients. All you need for this recipe is 500 grams of double cream or 500 grams of whipping cream. And that's it. And the amazing thing is I'm not only going to produce butter, but I'm also going to produce buttermilk. So then everyone's making banana breads at the moment. You can use your buttermilk in your banana bread. So let's just go and show you where the recipe is on your Thermomix. I'm just going to go to recently cooked, and I'm going to click on butter. And I'm just going to press start cooking. And it says insert butterfly whisk. Now everything comes with your Thermomix that I'll be showing you today. So I'm just going to pop my whisk in there, and I'm going to press next. And then you just need 500 grams of double cream at room temperature. So I just took it out the fridge about an hour ago, and there it is. So place 500 grams in the bowl. And as others have shown you, we can see the weight going in. Just going to scrape that out a little bit. I'm going to press next, and I'm going to insert the mixing, the measuring cup and the lid, and I'm just going to press next. And I'm going to turn the speed to 3.5. I'm going to make a little bit of noise as the cream is just being whipped inside, because obviously the buttermilk and the cream will separate, and that's how we get butter. So the Thermomix makes different noises depending on what you're making. But I love my Thermomix. I've been using it a lot in lockdown. My children love using it because they can choose what they want for dinner. And I've actually found that they're more adventurous with the Thermomix.
What kind of things have they been making, Ellie?
We've been making things like pizzas. So they make the dough and then we make this fresh tomato sauce. So they have the sauce on the pizza and then they choose obviously their toppings. They love making that. And then obviously you've got, I actually double the recipe. So I've got tomato sauce to have with pasta the next day. So just have a look. I think it actually might need just a little bit more. So we might just. But we've also been making hot cross buns because it's Easter and lots of sort of dishes. Basically, my children just love pasta. So we've been doing lots of chicken and chorizo in a creamy sauce. It's really easy and I find that it takes the stress out of cooking. Before I had my Thermomix, I always just had to batch cook because I couldn't stand kind of coming home after school and having to think what I was going to cook. But now I've got my plan on my Thermomix, so I love it how you can choose at the beginning of the week. There's 7 different things that you're going to cook, and then it pulls all the ingredients into a shopping list for me, so it's very stress-free. And then I know what I'm going to be cooking, and the children know because they can help decide. So it's definitely helps with meal times, not so stressful. Having them to eat. Okay, let's have a little look at this. Brilliant. So now we can see, if I just show you, that the buttermilk has separated from the cream. Now, we want to make sure that we don't lose any of that precious buttermilk. So I'm going to actually just sieve it through this simmering basket, which actually you also get with your Thermomix. So I'm going to use that and I'm just going to tip it all out. Use the spatula. And obviously, if you like your milk salted, then you could have added some salt. But I actually quite like doing lots of baking. So a lot of my ingredients needs to be unsalted butter. So this is perfect for me. And all I need to do now is just rinse the butter underneath cold water. So I'm going to be rinsing that just for a few minutes. And as you can see, the buttermilk's in my bowl to be used for my banana bread later. I've got my ripe bananas up there, and the Thermomix has an amazing banana bread recipe which I love. And there we are, just give it a bit of a shake and then I can just put some in a bowl, and that will keep for quite a long time, and you can keep it in the fridge or outside. And then there's your butter.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love making, you know, it's something I think even as advisors and people who've owned Thermomixes for years, we forget to do. But this lockdown period really has enabled us and got us thinking again, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love knowing exactly what's going in it.
Yeah.
Ankita,
yes?
We've actually made a complete meal, if you think about it. We've got the soup. You could always put a spoon of the pesto in the soup. And Ellie has made the butter to go on Fabrizio scones. So it's just a shame we can't all get together and enjoy it. But just before I finish, I just wanted to show you how the Thermomix can clean itself, basically. So obviously the bowl was very oily and mushy. I filled it up with some tap water, and I'm going to put a squirt of washing up liquid in. The Thermomix has a pre-clean function, and I'm just going to show you here how easy it is. And I often use this function in between things that I'm making just because it makes it quicker. So I will leave you now because of the noise and pass you over to either Ankita or Fabrizio. Thanks.
Let me. Okay, Yes, I still have another 1.5 minutes left for my soup. So let's see where Fabrizio is. I did see he was manically cleaning while that was done, so I was very impressed at his cooking style. Which spotlight you, Fabrizio?
Yeah, I cleaned the Thermomix again. I did what Talya just did as well. That's as simple as that. As Talya said, just fill it up with some water, squirt of washing up liquid, and then you see we've got a function on the actual Thermomix. Just swipe across, and we have a pre-clean function. So you select that, and it opens the pre-clean function. Now, as you can see, it starts off with 5 minutes, but the clever thing about Thermomix is that it's going to actually detect how dirty it is. So, although it starts off with 5 minutes, the time will actually reduce according to the actual dirt that's inside. So basically, when I cleaned my Thermomix just a couple of minutes ago, because of the scones dough, it only lasted about 1 minute. And it's really good because most of the dirt was gone, and I just gave it a rinse under the tap. Now, when it comes to my scones, they're still a bit pale. They need a couple of more minutes. So I don't know if your soup is ready, Ankita.
Let me see. It's almost ready, but thanks a lot, Fabrizio. Okay, yes, so I have now 8 seconds left for my soup. Now, a really interesting function of the Thermomix is after your cooking time, you also have an 8-second delay, so it starts to cool down before the arms open. And you can hear that nice little music telling me it's done. So what I'm going to do now is, I apologize, I was supposed to record on time lapse, but I completely forgot to do it, which is what a live cooking demonstration and video is all about, real life and keeping it real. I forgot to do that. But coming back to my soup, we're going to now blend it. And the really lovely thing about this blending function is that if you were to have a hot liquid and you certainly blend it, it would actually splat out. But the safety function in our Thermomix TM6 is that there's actually a slow motor blending, and then it gets faster. So you're going to hear this, and we're going to blend for a minute before the soup is ready. But here. And that's when it gets faster. And the music again. And there we have beautiful blended tomato and red pepper and lentil soup. I'm going to show you this, and then I'm also going to pour it into my bowl. This is actually going to be dinner tonight. And I have made the soup so many times that you can see the beautiful colors and the vibrancy that creates. You'll like this, Ellie. This is actually a great pasta bake too.
Brilliant. I'll try that on my children.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I see we have just 4 minutes left for our Zoom webinar. So I just wanted to thank the whole team for actually coming and cooking with me today. I actually loved cooking with you. It's been a real pleasure. And given that
it's been nice, it's a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So what
Do it again.
I think we will do is, if everyone could photograph their final dish and send it to me, I can then put this in a video and send it to everyone. But does anyone have any questions?
Can we see the scones? Are they finished?
Oh, they are.
Yeah, I've got them here. I'm showing them.
Let's see. Let me put you on spotlight. Spotlight video. Let's see, Fabrizio.
Oh, yum.
Oh,
There we go.
Wow, delicious.
Oh, they look delicious.
oh, wow.
They're big, aren't they? Nice.
They're really big. They're delicious. Enjoy.
Oh.
Thank you.
How you could cut it with the cutter as well. That was an ingenious idea.
Mm. Yeah, it's good. It comes handy. It's really handy.
So if only we were all together, this was a whole deal. Well done, guys.
Thank you. Nice to see you all.
You
Take care.
Stay safe. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.